Hello friends, welcome back to Miss Mo's Vegan Kitchen with Monica from Toronto, Canada. We are having banh mi sandwiches today. Again, changed up the menu because we were over in Chinatown. And you know what, friends? With this coronavirus thing going on around the world, it has been barren in some of the Asian markets. And we wanted to support. So we went there today, we bought all this stuff for these sammies, and you know what? We were treated so graciously. Friends, just support. Like, come on. Everything is gonna be fine. We went last week, we went the week before, we went this week. So we're really trying to do our part to support these little tiny stores that are not, you know, big, huge corporations that have millions of dollars behind them. You know, they've got families and they've got their little babies that they have to support. So do your part. Get out there and shop. Oh, friends. It's such a huge process to make these, but it's so worth it. I do not do the pate. I've never made veggie pate yet. I know you can make it with sunflower seeds. So that was the mayo. This is just some greens. Y'all have seen me make this before, though. Make this before. Oh my gosh, friends. I always get so excited. I made the pickled veggies, but this time I put daikon, carrot, and onion. I wanted to see how that would be because I love pickled red onion. So I should have brought some tongs. Let me grab some tongs, friends. Because I need to pick up, oh, shock, the tofu and the pickled veggies. So better to do it that way. All right, here's my crispy pan fried tofu. Quick update on my dad, friends. He's doing really well. Adrian went to visit him today and brought him to an appointment. And then he went and got his hair cut. Isn't that awesome? Papa, we love you so much. I'm just so happy that he's doing okay. Look at, there's like mangled ones, so I'm gonna stick that on my sandwich. Oops, dropped a piece. Friends, it's gonna be such a big sandwich. Oh my God. Okay, we've got our pickled veggies right here. So all you do for that, oh my gosh, friends, it smells so good, is just slice your daikon, carrots, and I did red onion, like I said, really, really thinly, like matchstick thin. And then put some sugar, some salt, and some vinegar. And then you just let it sit as it drips all over me. Oh, fabulous. Well, it's a good thing I like the smell. Look, friends. Okay. We've got some cilantro. Oh my gosh, how am I going to eat this? It's going to be a mess. We've got some sliced cucumber. Axel went out, so he has to eat his later. Ha ha. We have some fresh lime. Oh, I didn't warm it up. I just took it out of the fridge, so. Cold lime does not produce much juice, my friends. But look, it's coming. Oh! Some green onion. If any of it lands in my sandwich, that'd be great. I'm gonna leave one little piece for Axel. And then I even have Thai basil today. Because why not? Why not make this sandwich even bigger than it already is? Oh my Lord, friends. I don't know how I'm gonna eat this. I think I actually wish that I had made it earlier and wrapped it so that it would kind of like all go in together. I had toasted my bun. Oh my gosh, friends. Holy crud. Okay. Look at that beauty. Oh my gosh, friends. It looks so good. Oh, I have my water. Oh, I was thirsty. I'm gonna squeeze some lime in it. I'll just drop the lime in there. Whatever. Okay, friends. Here we go. If you've never had a banh mi, you really must try it. Oh my word. That is so good, friends. Oh, I'm so thirsty. I even brought a jug of water. Does anyone else do that? And keep it in the fridge? Axel loves doing it. So when I got this Tupperware pitcher, he was so excited. Because I don't like having it in the fridge without a lid on it, like a cover, a good cover. Because it picks up all of the flavors of the fridge and then it's kind of gross. Okay. Story time! So I'm going to tell you about wipe my mouth off first. Ah, so good, friends. I'm gonna tell you about Axel's birth. Well, I'll tell you about my pregnancy and my birth. So the only thing that I ever wanted in life, even from a very small child, was to be a mom. You know how they have career day at school? And everyone stands up and they say, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, I don't know, I want to be an accountant, I want to be a jockey, whatever people wanted to be. It was always these like really, you know, elaborate jobs. And always like an outside job, you know, outside of the home. And there's little old me, even at the age of, like, I think career day started in grade 2. So when I started school, I was only 3 years old. So JK, SK, grade 1, grade 2. So I would have been about 7 years old. Well, I stood up, went to the front of the class, had my speech all prepared, and said, when I grow up, I want to be a mom. I want to raise my baby. To be a loving, caring human being. I want to have a good relationship with them. I want us to be close. And that was it. Friends, it was my goal to be a mom. So, when I was 25, I got pregnant. And I was so excited. I did the prenatal classes. I went to all kinds of workshops. Like, it was amazing. I ate well. I took my prenatal vitamins. I talked to the baby. I would sing to the baby. And I would just dream of, like, all of these things that we were going to do. Well, let me tell you about the pee test. So as soon as I thought that I might be pregnant, I went and bought a pregnancy test. And I had told Axel's father that I would take it the next morning when he came home from work. He used to work overnight. Well, I was so excited to find out that when I went to sleep that night, I had such a horrible sleep. And I was dreaming about being pregnant and having a baby. So I got up in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. Excuse me, I have to blow my nose. And I took the test, and I swear to you that, like, the second that I even dribbled on it, I pulled it out to check, and it showed that I was pregnant. I was ecstatic. I just started crying. I started talking to my belly. I'm telling my baby that I was gonna love the baby. Oh my gosh. I started calling it my little bean. And I was just so happy. So I texted Axel's father to, like, say, so I have some news. And I told him, he was like, you were supposed to wait until I got home. I'm like, I couldn't wait. So The next day I went to the doctor. And got blood work done. Just to confirm. And then when the results from that came back, my doctor made me an appointment at the OBGYN. I was whistling, like with a whistle outside. Friends, I had been buying stuff for my baby since I was a teenager. I had a hope chest, I still have it. And it's still got some of those memory things because, you know, Axel actually used them. I bought, oh my gosh, sleepers and blankets and socks and scratch mitts and, or no scratch mitts, whatever you want to call them. Ooh. And, oh, I should move that out of the way. I bought everything. Diapers, soothers, receiving blankets, you name it. I was buying it since I was a teenager and storing it away. Yeah. Excuse me. And I was just like over the moon. My whole pregnancy was a breeze. I didn't have any troubles. They sent me to a special doctor because I was overweight and they were worried that I was going to get toxemia, I think it's called, which is like a blood poisoning. But everything was fine. And then time came for me to have the baby. So it was October 25th. And we decided that we were going to have a Halloween party. So we had about, I don't know, I want to say a dozen people over. But in the morning, I had gone out with my mom to prepare for everything. So we went to the mall and we were walking for hours and hours and hours. Oh, look at this hair. And my best friend, Pam, you've heard me talk about her. We were messaging each other back and forth because she was coming to the party. And I was like, you know, I'm kind of having this really weird pain. What was that? And she was like, explain it to me. So I said, well, it's coming from like the back and it's just, I don't think it's coming around to the front, but it's kind of constant, but not hurtful. Like it wasn't really bothering me and I was walking around, no problem at all. And she's like, do you think it's Braxton Hicks? I said, I don't know. Braxton Hicks, for those that don't know, is like false contractions. So, whatever, we come home, I do all of this work for this party. We have all kinds of food, we have all kinds of games and crafts and, dunking for apples, and we have decorations everywhere. You name it, I did it all. My mom just kind of helped with the cooking because she's not wanting to do anything else. And everybody comes over. I think we had the party for 3 p.m. Everybody comes over. And I'm exhausted at this point because I'd been on the go all day long on my feet. And I was thinking, these pains really seem like they're getting closer and closer. Maybe it's actually labor pains. So I'm telling everybody what's going on, and they're trying to time it, and they're like, well, it's kind of, you know, sporadic, so don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. Excuse me. So by 7 o'clock, I am exhausted, and I'm telling everybody, please, y'all gotta leave. I need to go to sleep. They're like, okay, well, let us help you clean up. Thank goodness they did. So I went to bed probably by 7:30, and around 1 o'clock, I woke up and I had to go pee. Nothing new when you're pregnant. You're peeing all the time. So I go to the bathroom and I feel this like really bad pain. Like I can't stand up and I'm curled over kind of pain. I'm like, oh man, I think that was a little bit more than what I was experiencing earlier. So from the time that I washed my hands, I had the pain while I was sitting down. By the time I got up, washed my hands and everything, I went back to the bedroom. I had already had another one. So that's like a few minutes. And I'm like, oh man, okay. So I'm hitting Axel's dad. I'm not going to say his name. I'm hitting Axel's dad. And I'm like, I think I'm in labor. He's like, what do you mean you're in labor? I said, I think I'm in labor. So he's like, okay. So he gets up, you know, all in a panic. We had our bag packed and everything like that. No big deal. And I said, I don't know if I can make it in an ambulance or if I can make it in a cab or I should call an ambulance. So he's like, okay, we'll call the hospital. So I call the hospital. I'm talking to the lady. And I'm in this, like, fantastic mood because, like I said, I've always wanted a baby. And she's like, you're in too good of a mood to actually be in labor. I think it's just Braxton Hicks. But you're more than welcome to come in. Okay, sure. So I said, should I call an ambulance or should I call a taxi? She's like, just call a taxi. I'm like, all right. So fine. We get everything done. My sister-in-law, who lived across the street at the time, came over to get my stepson. And off we go. We call the cab. Poor cab driver. I get in the cab and I'm okay. 2 seconds later, I'm like heaving in pain. Sorry, heaving is not the right word. I don't know what, but I was just in a lot of pain. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, I think I'm about to have the baby. And he's like, oh my God, I swear to you, he got us there in like 8 minutes and it probably would have been like a 25-minute ride. It was so funny. He took a different way. Not that he sped or anything, but he was just like, I'm determined to get you there quick. I don't even think he made us pay, actually. I don't remember. And I think I had enough contractions from the time that we left the apartment to the time that we got to the hospital that I knew that this was not fake. This was the real deal, friends. Everything was just like so intense. I can't even explain it. Woo! So we get to the front because they send you to obviously a special part to check in when you're having the baby. And she asked me what's wrong. I said, I'm pretty sure I'm having the baby. She's like, okay. So let me tell you how. Woo! I get there and she says the exact same thing. I really don't think you're in labor. I'm like, okay. She's like, how far apart are they? I'm like, right now they're about 5 minutes. And she said, for how long? And I said, they're about a minute long. She's like, oh, wow, really? Why are you in such a good mood? I'm like, because I want to have the baby. She's like, okay, well, let's get you hooked up to some monitors upstairs. I'm like, okay. So fine, they wheel me upstairs. And they put me on the monitor, and I kid you not, she's like, oh, man, this is the real deal. This is not Braxton Hicks. You're having the baby. I'm like, yeah, I pretty much thought so. So, oh, man, friends. There was one point where I had about a 2-minute break and then 1 minute contraction for a very long time. I don't remember how long, actually. Just a long time. Hours. And they called in my doctor. He came in with like an intern. And he was like, how's it going? And I'm like, well, I think we're ready. He's like, okay, I'm just delivering another baby and then I'll be right there. I'm like, okay. So he goes, takes care of the other baby, comes back to me and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, well, I'm in a lot of pain. And he's like, okay, well, he checks me and I'm definitely ready to have the baby. Just put it that way. And he says, okay, well, I think we should break your water. Because at this point, my water had not broke yet. And I said, okay. So they break my water. And then I thought it was intense before that. Oh, no. It got so bad that, like, I was seeing things. Woo! And friends, I can take a lot of pain. So let me tell you how when it came and instantly tears in my eyes, I knew that I was in trouble. So I stood that for I don't know how many hours. And then the doctor came in and said to me, you need to have an epidural. And I said, okay, well, I didn't want to have an epidural. And he said, well, I'm just letting you know that this is really, I think that the pain is too intense for you. And you're going to pass out. And then you're going to end up having a C-section. And you're not even going to be able to see the birth because you're going to be knocked out. So I did a little bit of crying. And then I agreed to have the epidural. Thank goodness. So friends, let me tell you. I was so scared to have the epidural. Because for one thing, I was just in an immense amount of pain. And I didn't want to be in any more pain. And the way that they explain it to you is that you cannot move. From the moment that they give you like a pillow to hug, and they've got your back exposed, and they're telling you that they're going to do the epidural, and they tell you to let them know when you finish a contraction. They'll do it in between the contractions. Okay, fine. And then he says to you, don't move, because it could literally paralyze you for the rest of your life. And you're like, oh my God, what? So like instant fear. And then I was like, okay. And then I asked him when he was doing it, and he's like, I'm already done. And I'm like, oh my God. Thank you, Jesus. And it was the first time in the history of the hospital that they actually let somebody come in. So my ex came in with me because they thought I was going to pass out. So they were really nervous. So I guess that they were just, you know, being precautious as to what was going to happen. So fine, I have the epidural, and thank goodness I was able to get a little bit of a rest. And then they woke me up, and the pain just continued. So they rushed me in, and when Axel wanted to come out, there was a lot of trouble, and he was not coming out. So I kept saying, like, I think something is wrong. And they're like, no, they had me on the oxygen because I was panicking. And then the next thing you know, the doctors are scrubbing up. And I said, I need to push. And he's like, you're not ready. I'm like, no, I need to push. He's like, you're not ready. And I'm like, I need to push. And I screamed bloody murder. I'm sure that they heard me 3 towns over. And I just pushed, and the doctor came running. Axel almost fell off the operating table. I'm telling you, friends, thinking about it now, of course, I'm laughing, but I was scared to death. And then he didn't cry. He didn't make any noise at all. And just things were flying everywhere. Doctors were screaming orders at the nurses. The nurses were screaming back at them. I'm crying because I don't know what's going on. I can't hear the baby crying. And I'm freaking out. And they're like, something is wrong. And I'm like, okay. And then you still have to push for the afterbirth and everything. And I was just so confused with everything that was going on. And it was a lot of information, friends. They're trying to throw at you, and you're trying to concentrate on hearing your baby cry. It was horrifying. So, Axel's dad goes over to the little, you know, the incubator table type thing. And he comes back, and he's like, there's something wrong. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just pray. Please, just pray. Just pray everything is going to be okay. I did not go through all of this for this to happen. And I really did think that he was going to die. Like, right in front of me. So they rush him out, and they're just like, okay, we're taking him to NICU. I'm like, okay. And they're still taking care of me and stitching me up and everything. And then they just leave me. And they come and get my ex, and he's got to rush out there to see what's going on. And, like, at that point, I don't even remember if there was 1 nurse or 2 nurses, or they're trying to comfort me. Then they wheel me out into the hallway, and I'm just sitting there. And I don't know what's going on with my baby and where my baby went. And believe me, friends, it's really hard for me not to cry right now, because I was freaking out. Like, I was freaking out. My heart is racing right now, even just talking about this. So, a few minutes later, the doctor comes back, and I said, what's wrong? And he said, we don't know. There's just a lot of low scores. Just, whatever you believe in, just pray. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm crying and trying to keep myself together, and I'm losing it at the same time. And then my ex comes back, and he's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's wrong. And I'm just losing it, friends. Like, losing it. That's an understatement. I couldn't keep myself calm at all. So finally they wheel me to a room, and I'm sitting in there, and Axel's dad's talking to me, and I can't control my crying because I just want to see the baby. And then they came in and gave me something because I was so upset, and I was kind of losing it. So I guess they were nervous that I was having a nervous breakdown. I really felt like I probably was at that point. So that knocked me out. And then I was having, like, nightmares of, like, cars coming out of the walls, and it was nuts. So when I woke up the first time, I looked at Axel's dad, and I just said, I couldn't talk properly. I actually remember all of that, which is surprising. Plus, people have told me the stories. So I just said, what's going on? And he said, there's no change yet. They've got him hooked up to all kinds of machines and everything. I was like, okay. And I just fell back to sleep. Well, the next thing I get this little tap, tap, tap on my shoulder. And it's the nurse saying, somebody's hungry. And I'm like, what? And she, like, you know, points to the side, and there's Axel. Oh my gosh, friends. I bawled my eyes out. And at first I thought it was a dream because the people next to me had their little baby. They were the sweetest couple. Oh my gosh. They were so nice. Every time that I would cry, they would ask me if I wanted to hold their baby. Like, they were the sweetest people ever. I don't remember their names, unfortunately, but I know that their baby was Noah. Oh, friends. I was just so overwhelmed with gratitude and just the feeling of relief that he was alive, that he was okay, that he was breathing, that I was counting his toes, counting his fingers, looking for marks on him to make sure that I had the right baby. Like, oh my gosh, I can't even explain. It was just such a beautiful moment, and I just held him too close to me, and I just cried and cried and rocked him and cried. Tried to feed him, but I was crying too much that my whole body was shaking. So I called for the nurse. The nurse came in to help me. And then the rest is history. And now he's 21. Oh my gosh, friends. He was so sick in the first little bit of his life, but he bounced back like no tomorrow. And, you know, other than the few little times that he was sick over the years, and then finally when we realized that it was celiac, he's been fine ever since. Knock on wood. There's your story time for tonight, friends. Jeez Louise. Just the thought. And then I just decided that I was not having any more babies because I couldn't put myself through that ever again. Oh. So that's why I only have one kid. There you go, friends. I hope you enjoyed this meal and this story time. We love you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you know when we hit up a new video. And friends, we are past 200 subscribers. Isn't that exciting? Thank you so much for watching. And I don't know if you can share it on your circles or whatever, but do it all because we are on our way to 1,000. And once we get to 1,000, that means we get all nice kinds of perks and stuff. I'm so excited about that. Keep smiling, friends. Stay blessed and love yourself.